Dating apps are a gamble, but this guy? He seemed too perfect, handsome, well-dressed, a smooth talker, charming as hell. Even my best friend was jealous when I showed her his profile. If you don't go, I will, she joked, peeking at his photos. And look, he actually writes full sentences. A man with grammar? Unheard of. We talked for a week before he asked me out. Dinner and drinks. A classic. I even Googled him because, serial killers exist. But he checked out. No arrests. No sketchy stories. Just a normal guy. So I said yes. And that was my first mistake. The date. The bar he chose was nice. Dimly lit. Expensive without trying too hard. And him? Even better looking in person. Tall. Well-dressed. Smelled expensive. His smile? Straight out of a movie. Wow, he said, pulling me into a hug. You look even more beautiful in person. He pulled out my chair. Ordered my first drink before I even sat down. Smooth. Conversation flowed effortlessly. He was funny, engaging, ridiculously attentive. He listened like every word I said was a secret worth knowing. And he insisted on paying. A woman as beautiful as you shouldn't have to spend a dime tonight, he said with a grin. I blushed. I thought, is this what being swept off your feet feels like? The night was perfect. Until it wasn't. The shift. I was about 6 drinks in when I started feeling warm. A little too warm. Not drunk, but heavy. Like something was sinking inside me. That's when I noticed something. He wasn't drinking. Every round, he had ordered me cocktails, shots, wine, but for himself, water. Always water. I laughed, nudging his glass. Pacing yourself? His smile didn't reach his eyes. Something like that. Goosebumps crawled in my arms. The bartender was watching us. So was the group at the high top by the entrance. And our waitress. She had come by 3 times in 5 minutes. Each time, her eyes lingering on me. That's when it hit me. They weren't looking at us. They were looking at him. The warning. I forced a smile. I just need to use the restroom real quick. Of course. He stood as I did, hand barely brushing my waist. Too familiar. Too much. I hurried toward the restroom, but before I could enter, a hand grabbed my wrist. I spun, heart hammering. It was our waitress. Her face was pale. How do you know him? She asked, voice low. I frowned. We met on Hinge. Her grip tightened. You need to leave. Now. I slid down my spine. What? She glanced at our table, then back at me. We've seen him here before. A lot. Always with different girls. Always buying them drinks. But he only drinks water. My stomach dropped. We've had complaints. Girls waking up in places they don't remember. Some barely made it home. One never came back. The room spun. My drink. The warmth in my skin. I was drugged. The escape. I swallowed down the panic. I'm just being paranoid, I said, even as every cell in my body screamed otherwise. She shook her head. I already called you an Uber. I stared at her. What? It's out front. That's when I knew. This wasn't the first time. She had done this before. For someone else. For someone who might not have made it out. My legs were jelly as I stepped back onto the floor, my breath shaky. He was already standing, smiling. Everything okay? He asked, voice dripping with concern. I forced a grin. Yeah, just got a call. My friend needs me. His expression didn't change, but his eyes darkened. Shame, he said, tilting his head. I was hoping we'd spend more time together. The way he said it, like he already owned my night, like he had already decided. I grabbed my purse and walked out without looking back. I didn't breathe until I was in the Uber. Aftermath. I blocked him the second I got home. The next day, I tried searching for his Hinge profile. Gone. Like he had never existed. Like he had moved on to the next girl. And that's when I realized he would keep doing this. Again. And again. And again. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. It really helps the channel grow. Thanks for listening to Hidden Thread Teller. See you in the next one.